Hey guys, Mitchell, also known as Creation Catalyst here. We're going to be doing the multicolor cards, the artifacts, in the lands. I'm joined by...
Ryan, low battery 68.
A fork.
Is this going to be your thing now?
Just introduce yourself differently every time.
Well, Ian introduced himself as a spoon, so somebody has to be the fork.
What about the knife?
Are you guys
Next week I'll be
couple?
next week I'll be a spork.
Are you guys a couple?
No, we're not.
They go together though.
When they're the spork, they're going to be the couple.
Yeah, when we're the spork. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Kevin.
I think they got that by now.
Oh no shit.
All right, just go.
First card, Ajani, Mentor of Heroes, 3 colorless, a green and a white. He is a planeswalker. He starts at 4 loyalty. He has a +1 of distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures you control. Another +1 of look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal it. An aura, creature, or planeswalker card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order, and a -8 of you gain 100 life. I think this card is insane.
I thought it was a joke when it was actually released. I was like, that the alt couldn't be real when you crack him. I was like, that you gain 100 life. It's so
Yeah,
simple.
I didn't think the alt was real either. I think the card's insane though.
Oh yeah, a lot of people, for instance, are saying that he can't defend himself, so he's kind of bad in that aspect. But his second +1 that lets you search through the top 4 of your library, that in essence is defending himself.
I think the
It's a card
fact
advantage.
I think the fact that he does 2 pluses makes the fact that he protects himself less well than some other planeswalkers perfectly fine. I still wish he was less mana though. I mean,
Yeah, he's fine. I think if he was less though, he'd be way too good. At 5, he's perfect. He also has 2 pluses, which is good. So they have to deal with them because no matter what you do, you're building towards an ultimate. It's not like most planeswalkers that have a plus and a minus, where if you minus, they don't really have to deal with it right away. With him, you're constantly building towards the ultimate of gain 100 life.
Right. And on top of that, he's also in green, so you mana ramp into him quite easily.
What's ridiculous is if you put him in like a junk deck, his +1 can find Underworld Connections.
Yeah, that seems pretty good. If he's in Naya, his +1 finds Domri. You know,
Oh, yeah.
it's his
Elspeth, Jace.
Yeah.
He's ridiculous.
the thing I find awkward about his ultimate though is against some decks,
It's not game winning.
It's not going to
Right,
win the
right.
game. It'll seal you not losing the game against some decks,
Yeah.
but then you might just go to time and it's like
Yeah, he's still overall really good.
What about his first +1 ability? The put 3/1/1 counters on something.
You can turn your 7 character into a 3/6.
Blue, white, green with Sage of Hours.
Sure, that's really good too. You
Put
can
3/1/1 counters on it.
you can also you can make your Course Recruit fix a threat actually now.
Yeah,
turn
yeah,
into
you can.
Yeah, 5/7.
You know,
I think he's very good.
yeah.
I don't think enough people are going to.
I mean,
I'm-
barring his ult, I don't really care for that.
I'm a little
You don't
reserved.
really play planeswalkers for their ultimate.
That's true too. You use
I'm
it for the
a little
utility.
reserved about the card, but like I don't know. I just look at everything and
You know they're at least going to try him in standard somewhere.
I mean, I think he's like a 2 of. 2 or 3 of.
In what decks? Or
Green white X. Any green white X deck. I don't think he fits into a green white base deck though. I think he has to have a 3rd color, just to make him even better.
to make the deck overall better. I think.
Yeah. Well, to make his pluses better too.
yeah.
Like because if you're in black, just the ability to find an Underworld Connections is insane.
Right. And then if you're in red,
Because that's
you can
even
find
more-
Domri, Xenagos.
Yeah, because
things
that's
like
even
that.
more card advantage if you're finding Underworld Connections.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous.
Card advantage. And
His second
more card
+1, I
advantage.
think, is definitely the better of the two.
Oh yeah,
Just because it's the card advantage.
yeah, absolutely. But his other +1 turns your creatures into reliable threats also.
Mm-hmm. And also, something else about his second +1, it also says enchantments as well. I believe creatures,
Auras.
enchantments, auras.
Auras.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, depending. I don't think that's as good as I thought. I thought it was enchantments. I was going to say that's really good because a lot of things.
Or
I
it's
mean-
still good because it finds the tendency.
Yeah,
like in the
it's
decks,
still good.
in the decks that you're running this in is
He's absolutely fine.
yeah. I mean, you're not gonna whiff very often off of that.
No.
And he helps you cycle through cards and stuff. Yeah,
And even if you hit like the 4 lands off the top, then that's 4 lands you're not drawing.
Right. That's
yeah,
4
and if
dead
you
cards
already
you're not
cast
drawing.
him, you really don't need many more lands.
No, exactly.
Okay, next card. Athreos, God of Passage. He is 1, a white and a black. Legendary enchantment creature god. Indestructible. As long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7, Athreos isn't a creature. Whenever another creature you own dies, return it to your hand unless target opponent pays 3 life. He's a 5/4.
This is one card that I looked at, and I was actually impressed with it just from first impressions.
I think this is the best god out of the set.
It is.
I mean, I mean all of
Yeah,
Pharaoh's
no,
block
out
completely.
of
I think
Thassa,
it's
Erebos, all of them.
best god.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I was laughing because, well, first of all, the obvious choice is in a black-white human deck.
Oh, absolutely.
You put him in at the top of your curve, and it can get a little insane.
I don't know about top. I think
No?
you curve out at Whip of Erebus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's even better.
And possibly like 1 or 2 ups of that.
Okay.
He's not a human, but he puts 4 devotion towards Athreos.
And he puts a lot of pressure on the board, too.
He does.
And then, the other one, which I was laughing about with my friend because he plays a lot of very casual Magic, and he has a white-black, just the stupid Newt, the Newt Witch and Culture
Bogru
deck.
Witch combo.
This card with that.
Yeah.
Just all that sacrificing.
I think this makes Cartel Aristocrat playable again in the format, alongside of Zathod Necromancer.
Oh,
and
yeah,
also, Mutavault. Also, alongside this becomes really good. Because if they kill your Mutavault, do they want you to get the Mutavault back?
Or do they want to take 3?
I think most of the time, in all honesty, if I deal with someone's Mutavault, and the choice to whether send it back to their hand or the graveyard, I'm sending it to the graveyard. I do not want them to keep having Mutavaults.
No, Mutavault is a very tough thing to deal with.
It is.
It handles the problem that the white-black humans
does.
has with Supreme Verdict, with it
this
handles
card
its
begs to
biggest
be board
problem.
white.
Well, the nice thing about this also is, if Cartel Aristocrat becomes played again, if they attempt to exile any of your combo piece, I'm considering Zathor Necromancer a pseudo combo piece, this. With Cartel Aristocrat, you can just sack your stuff in response. So you're bound to get zombies, and then they have to decide whether to pay the 3 life, and it's just very good.
It's really hard to deal with.
It is. I think he's very good.
And on top of that, I think that the image they went with, the way they made him the Death Reaper sort of thing, I think that's really cool. And
absolutely.
Probably my favorite card art out of the entire.
Oh, absolutely. He's really cool looking. Okay, next card, Desperate Stand. It is a red and a white sorcery with Strive, and it costs red and a white more to cast for each target beyond the first. Any number of target creatures each get +2/+0 and gain first strike and vigilance until end of turn.
I wish it was instant.
Instant speed would be better, but by then, you've tapped them.
I think this one is actually fine as a sorcery in the simple fact that if you're attacking, they're tapped, and this has to be sorcery to make it so you're not already attacking, so they can get vigilance.
And make it useful.
I think this one's fine for limited. I don't think it's too standard.
The fact that it gives them first strike, too, that's always a big benefit.
It's very good in combat, but... I can see where he's saying the instant.
Yeah.
Because the ability to get first strike, instant speed is amazing.
But even still,
it's a blowout.
If you do this before the combat, during your main phase when you cast it, it makes them block differently. So some creatures you're going to get more damage in some areas.
If it was instant speed, that means you have the option of casting it on their turn as a defensive measure, a defensive combat trick to kill off one of their creatures or whatever.
Yeah.
And you still have the option of playing this in your main phase
or during your attack phase.
Yeah, anytime.
I can see where.
But it gives them vigilance, so you still have the
I think it's perfectly fine.
That.
I think it's perfectly fine as sorcery. I'd rather.
I think instant would make it a lot better.
Yeah, but it would also cost a lot more. I think.
I think it could cost 1 more.
Yeah, one more in both Strive and regular, or
just regular.
Just regular.
Yep. Next card is Disciple's Deceit. It is a blue-black creature human rogue with Inspired. Whenever Disciple of Deceit becomes untapped, you may discard a non-land card. If you do, search your library for a card with the same converted mana cost as that card. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. It's a 1/3. I don't like it.
I like the effect. I just don't like that it's on an Inspired card, because Inspired is very underwhelming.
Right.
Inspired is very uninspired.
It is not very good. Oh. Yeah, we haven't made that joke yet.
Yeah. In all seriousness, the effect of it's really cool. The fact that you can say, I have this 2-drop in my hand, but I need this 2-drop or something like that.
Yeah.
You get
again, it's Inspired.
Yeah, that's the real big downfall.
I think if there's a way to abuse tapping, untapping, I think the card could be playable.
There's that one card in blue, the enchantment that for 4 mana tap target creature, isn't there?
Oh, Thassassire? It's the 1-drop. It's a 1-drop and its effect is 4 to activate.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
I don't know.
And
4 mana, no, 4 mana for a very specific tutor effect is not really that good.
I'm just saying, because it fits the colors, too.
Even if you had a Springleaf Drum to say you had a Springleaf Drum to tap it down, so it's technically 3 mana to tutor it, it's not
I don't know. It's very situational.
Because you're not even going up cards, you have to discard.
What about unlimited to flesh out your deck for the cards that you want or something like that?
I don't think so, because not a lot of cards in your limited we're going to have the same mana cost.
Oh.
I don't think it's very good.
And I don't think any standard play at all.
No.
I was possibly saying EDH though.
EDH?
I could think so. Because I could see where
if you
like
can find a way to make it so it doesn't die every time it taps.
right, but like I could see EDH because like a lot of cards in EDH do have the same mana cost, and maybe you don't want this threat.
You want another
But you
threat
want
that's more
this threat that's
situational.
more situational,
Yeah.
better suited for that situation.
Yeah.
Like, say you have a 4-mana card, any 4-mana card, but you need a board wipe such as Damnation. And the board's overwhelmed. You can discard that to get Damnation and clear the board.
Right.
Like, that's the only situation. I think that's where it comes into play EDH better.
I think the fact that it's black though, there's better tutors. You have
Absolutely.
much better options.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
In
I still
EDH.
think its best place is probably an EDH. Like, a casual
Yeah.
EDH
yeah.
deck where people
If
aren't going to
nothing
spend
else,
$20 on it.
another tutor for
Right.
EDH in black.
Pseudo tutor.
Pseudo tutor. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Next card is Fleet Feather Cockatrice. It is 3 colorless, green and a blue, with Flash Flying Death Touch with a monstrosity of 5 colorless, a green and a blue, monstrosity of 3, and it's a 3/3.
Oh, that's
Very
perfect.
good card.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Limited bomb.
Oh, absolutely.
It's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
It's got evasion. It's got death touch.
And Flash.
And
it's a 3/3 for 5 with Flash.
And it can
monstrosity.
get bigger.
And it becomes a 6/6. You know.
It's
Like,
ridiculous.
so it's either something you throw in to take out their biggest threat, or it's something that you throw in to be the biggest threat.
Is
you
it
know?
bad? I want to say I want to play this in Standard.
I mean, if you could find a way to make
I
it
mean,
work, good
like-
for you. But
All right. Well, what are you playing this in standard? Like
green
a
blue
monsters
ramp,
deck? Or...
green blue ramp monsters.
I actually could see in like Rug Monsters deck.
Yeah.
Or in just like blue green big stuff style deck.
Okay.
Because Flash Flying Death Touch is still very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's not like a standard all star or anything, but just like a nice like a one off.
And you know, it's not overpriced either at 5
No.
mana for
Oh,
a
absolutely
3/3
not.
flying.
No.
You know, that's
But its place to shine is in like sealed draft.
sealed limited, just limited format, I think, in
Yeah,
general.
I don't know, possibly draft, but I'd say more sealed.
I already like the green blue deck in this limited environment. So
Yeah. I think the card's very good. Okay, next one is another god. It is Iroas, God of Victory. 2 colorless, a red and a white, legendary enchantment creature god, indestructible.
God stuff. Just God stuff.
Yep, just white gods. Indestructible, as long as your devotion to red and white is less than 7. Iroas isn't a creature. Creatures you control can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Prevent all damage that be dealt to attacking creatures you control. I am not impressed.
I think it's overhyped.
I completely agree.
I think it's incredibly over. I like that it has madcap skills for all of your creatures on it. You know, for the same price as a Gruul Warchant, which is the 2 green and a red enchantment.
right
Yeah.
now in standard, it's
I-
really bad.
I don't think it's main deckable.
Yeah, because there's a lot of revelation decks
I
running around.
think I think what you do with this card is it's 1 or 2 of the sideboard, and you bring it in the creature mirrors.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
this card's
Because it
ridiculous
prevents
in
the
crea-
damage.
Yeah, well, not even that.
It's
It
just
can't
the
block
evasion.
effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evasion
And the creature
and
mirror,
prevent
this card's
damage.
ridiculous. And anything else, it's terrible.
And
I
there's,
mean,
there's
like, this is a dead
there's,
draw.
There's a lot of just revelation variants with mid-range decks and mono black. Those are like the most popular decks right now.
This is
Now-
a dead draw against most decks.
Yeah, it's something to not be taken serious for standard or for anything like that. But just the concept that this makes red and white inspired mechanics actually work because they don't take damage for swinging in.
Right,
There's
but,
that.
but you
I
can
mean,
still kill them.
Well, you still can kill them, but the biggest concern with inspired is you have to swing in with them to get them to tap.
Yeah.
Unless you have like a spring
Yeah,
like
you
drum.
do.
This
There's
says
actually,
I
there's
swing
actually
in.
another combo with it's the 3-drop black tree where you pay a black
Oh,
type
and
creature.
tap it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good for the blue black inspired deck.
Yeah, so
Very
like
good.
I like this card because if nothing else, if you have inspired mechanics.
I think you play it in limited. I don't because that's where you're mostly creature on creature. And it's very good in
Right,
limited.
right.
Standard play, I don't think it really gets there. I don't
not
like
not in this standard anyway.
Definitely not in this standard. Maybe the metagame going into the next standard will be more aggro mid-range heavy.
Yeah.
But right now with revelation decks and mono black being really good, like it's just really bad against those
right.
decks.
Okay, next we have another god. It is Kuranos, God of Storms. He is 3 colorless, a blue and a red. More god stuff. Indestructible, as long as your devotion to blue and red is less than 7. Kuranos isn't a creature. Reveal the first card you draw on each of your turns. Whenever you reveal a land card this way, draw a card. Whenever you reveal a non-land card this way, Kuranos deals 3 damage to target creature or player. 6/5. I actually think he's really good.
I do too, and I don't play blue that often, but I think I mean
I don't think you play him in a control deck. Well, you can play him in a control deck, in control
He's
mirrors.
good in the counter control deck.
He's good in the counter control deck, but I think he's good in like a rug deck, along like Courser, Crufix, and stuff like that. Because just your ability to know what's on top of your deck,
Right.
With the Scrylands, the ability to set up what you're going to be drawing that turn.
Domri him, Courser.
Well, yeah, even then, but like, say there's a land. Maybe you want there to be a creature to deal 3 to something. Well, even if there's a land, you reveal a land, you draw an additional card. I think he's perfectly fine.
Right. I like that it's, once he hits the field, it's either I draw 2 cards or I draw a card and lightning bolt something.
Right.
I
think he needs to be built around a little bit more, though, than some of the other guys. Well, actually, Athreos is the most built around me god.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he just requires a little more setup.
I'm not super impressed by him. I think he's fine. He's better than some of the other gods easily, but I don't know.
I mean,
he's either going to be really good or really bad.
A lot of it has to do, I'm guessing, with the 5 mana drop thing.
That and the fact that, I don't know, I just don't like the kind of deck that he works the best in, a mid-range trying to grind out value kind of.
That's why I think you play him in, a rug deck so you can ramp into him.
Yeah.
I think he's fun. Next is another god, Crufix, God of Horizons.
God of the EDH.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
He's 3 colorless, a green and a blue. God indestructible, same devotion requirements as the previous 3, where his devotion has to be 7. You have no maximum hand size. If unused mana would empty from your mana pool, that mana becomes colorless instead. He's a 4/7.
The fact that it has you have no maximum hand size
EDH.
in that makes it instant EDH.
Yeah, the fact that it's indestructible.
He's Reliquary Tower combined with Omnath. Except the thing with Omnath is the mana stays green.
Yeah.
His becomes colorless, which is a little bit of a downside.
But at that point you're just ramping it as something huge anyways.
Right.
So you're saving up all this mana for something.
Absolutely, I think he's very good.
He's definitely going to have EDH decks built around him. He's definitely going to be featured in EDH decks.
Yep. No standard. I don't think he has standard playability.
Or limited.
No.
Just nothing. It's an EDH card.
This is
right now.
EDH.
If they print stuff that makes him good in standard, go for it.
Right.
Okay. Next card is Nyx Weaver. 1, a green and a black with. It's a spider it's an enchantment creature with reach. At the beginning of your upkeep, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. 1, a green and a black. Exile Nyx Weaver. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. And it's a 2/3. Fine for limited in the green-black style deck.
It's fine.
I don't like that you have to exile him though. That means that he himself can't be recurred.
You can ignore that ability entirely and just look at the fact that it's a 2/3 with reach for 3.
That helps feed your graveyard.
No, I completely understand that, and I mean he himself also gets something back, but it would be. I think that's why they did it.
I think they did that so there's no combo stuff with
him. Because if he went to the graveyard himself and you recurred him and you just kept bringing stuff like that.
Let's play Dredge.
Yeah, it would get a little ridiculous. But, I mean, at the very least, he's a 3-drop, 2/3, like you said, and he's fueling the fire in the black-green.
Yep, absolutely fine.
So,
okay, next is another god, which is Farika, God of Affliction, a 1 and a green and a black. Indestructible as long as your devotion to black and green is less than 7. It's not a creature. It's one of the multicolored gods that actually has an activated ability. The only multicolored god with an activated ability.
Yeah.
It is green and a black, exile target creature card from a graveyard. Its controller puts a 1/1 black and green snake enchantment creature token with death touch onto the battlefield, and it's a 5/5. I think this card's getting undersold right now.
I think it's underwhelming. Unfortunately, I guess it's because I had such high hopes for the black-green god to be something fantastic, and the fact that it puts it on the owner's battlefield, not your battlefield, so it's not as good as Scavenging Ooze in that regard.
I don't think you use it as a Scavenging Ooze card. I think
it's not a Scavenging Ooze card.
I think people are undervaluing this card, and I don't know why.
I just think
I know why, but
I think it's awkward when you're using it in standard along with Night Howlers or something.
It is, but I think its best place to shine is a 1 or 2 of in the green black dredge deck in standard.
Because again, if nothing else, it's easy to turn on. Yeah, it's easy to turn on. The other thing I really like is that because it's an activated ability, you have that option to use it as a combat trick if they were to swing in. You have 2 mana open, you say, well, I don't need this creature, here's a Death Touch Snake and I kill you.
I mean, they should be taking that into account too because they can see it on the board.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It forces them to change the way they play.
Absolutely. I think it's fine. I absolutely do.
And it triggers Constellation.
It does trigger Constellation. I think people are not giving this card enough credit.
It does a lot for 3 mana.
It does.
5/5.
I think people will be surprised.
I do too.
I think it's the
Like I said, I was only underwhelmed because I was expecting something.
I think that's what
crazy.
a lot of people were. I think people were expecting a lot more than what it is, and
But
I think
it's not a bad card. By
if you
any means.
if you didn't have the expectations of what the card you thought was going to do, I think it's perfectly fine.
Oh yeah, I think because Aetherios came out right before this one, that's what it was. Everyone saw Aetherios and was like, "Wow, that's really cool." And then Farika was like, you know, everyone else in the
I feel like
high
they
of
should. The
Aetherios
last
and-
one they should have spoiled should have been Aetherios.
Well,
Just
that's what I'm saying.
And on the best card,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Next card is Revel of the Fallen God, which is 3 colorless, 2 red, 2 green, sorcery. Put 4/2/2 red and green satyr creature tokens with haste onto the battlefield. Limited.
bomb, and even still not the best one you can get.
Nope.
So I mean,
for 7 mana you get 4 2/2s, and in limited 4 2/2s is still 4 2/2s.
right.
It's 4.
But they have
creatures
haste, so I mean that's
Yeah,
8 damage
It's
per turn it
8
comes out.
power for
7 mana.
7 mana, so it's efficient.
It's
It's
still,
multiple targets, so they can't
It
one
is.
for one you.
It's still
There's
4
that.
creatures they have to deal with. I don't like it though.
It's not that great.
I do like the card out. All of the satyrs freaking out because Xenagos has fallen, and even in the flavor text it says that.
Yep,
I think that's really cool.
it does. Next card is Storm Chaser Chimera. 2 colorless, red and a blue. It's a Chimera flying for 2, a blue and a red, scry 1. Then reveal the top card of your library. Storm Chaser Chimera gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is that card's mana cost. That's a 2/3. I think this card's playable and limited.
Yeah.
Also, if you pull Karanos, you can run them alongside each other to set up your scries.
Yeah.
Yep. It's fine.
And then even more like this is the one that we were talking about the other cards earlier that have like the scry then do something effect, and we were saying how there's like a big chance that nothing will happen. With this, that's not so much a case because at the very worst, it's a 4-drop 2/3 flyer.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
it
It's
can
still
only get
something.
better from there.
Absolutely.
So
Last of the multicolored cards is Underworld Coinsmith, which is a white and a black enchantment creature human cleric with Constellation. Whenever Underworld Coinsmith or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. For white and a black, pay 1 life. Each opponent loses 1 life. It's a 2/2. I think this card,
I like it.
I like it a lot. I think this goes straight into the white-black humans deck in standard.
oh yeah,
Yep.
the fact that you basically you play an enchantment, you gain a life. Right then and there, that's good. In limited, this thing's crazy.
Oh yeah, it's good.
And limited, this is going to be a real
Is it-
good card.
In limited, it does exactly what the white-black deck does, and just starts draining your opponents for
Yep.
life.
Absolutely.
And the fact that its activated ability doesn't cost a lot at all, well, white and a black, and 1 life that you're going to gain anyways because you're probably playing enchantments in limited.
Right.
I think it's perfectly fine. And if nothing else, it's still a 2/2 for 2 bear. That gains you life.
Yeah, gains you 1 life.
That gains you 1 life.
Favorite card of the multicolored ones.
Multicolored ones.
Aetherios.
The obvious one's Aetherios, but I personally, I think it might be Underworld Coinsmith just because of what it is.
I like Farika a lot. Like I like Aetherios too, but to say favorite, I'd say Farika. In all honesty.
My favorite's gonna be Aetherios because I'm playing Death and Taxes in Modern right now. And
I think he goes straight into that.
I'm probably just gonna splash for just that and like Thoughtseize or Inquisition maybe.
I think both. No, in all honesty, like I'm not kidding. I think both go into that deck. I think you can also play the Tidehauler Scholar with Brain Maggot alongside that, and because Aether Vial, you just Aether Vial the stuff, and I think he's fine. Because you can set your Aether Vial to 3, you have Flicker Wisp, Aetherios. I think it's completely fine.
Yep.
Farika's, like we said, underwhelming because of Aetherios appearing right before it, but still a really good card.
I like it.
3 mana, 5/5 indestructible.
And
if nothing else,
Yep.
that is still something to be terrified about.
Yep. Okay, so artifacts. First artifact we have is Armory of Iroas. It is 2 mana. It's an equipment. Whenever an equipped creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and has equip of 2. I don't really like artifacts for limited.
They're really hit or miss. In
They
all
are.
seriousness.
I think this one's okay, but I don't think it's exactly where you want to be going.
I mean, like if you need
if it triggered
if you need your
Heroic-
23rd playable,
Yeah.
whatever. But
if it triggered heroic, it'd be entirely different.
It's still playable and limited.
Yeah. Just because it makes your creatures beefier.
Right.
That's it.
Chariot of Victory, 3 mana, equipment. Equipped creature has first strike, trample, and haste. Equip 1. This one is playable and limited.
Yeah. Very easily playable, I think.
Absolutely. Okay.
I don't see standard for any of these though.
well,
for
no.
any of these.
Actually, there was one coming up.
One?
Yeah, there's one coming up. Next, we have Deserter's Quarters. 2 mana artifact. You may choose not to untap Deserter's Quarters during your untap step. For 6 mana tap 3, tap target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as Deserter's Quarters remains tapped. I think you could play this in limited as a pseudo removal.
Kind of like a
Just scan damage.
I mean, you tap down their biggest threat,
Uh-huh.
you know? And then when a new threat comes out, you untap it and tap down their new biggest
Yeah, and
threat.
really no one's going to be taking artifact removal.
No.
No.
No. Because we just discussed about how all those were, like,
Not very good.
not very good because what?
And they aren't.
No, because this is probably the only one you necessarily have to
Yeah.
truly worry about because this stops your creature from doing anything.
Right.
I mean, like, spear maybe. Like, that's a problem if you need to
Oh, yeah.
keep punching people. But, like, you don't take artifact removal just because you're afraid of spear.
Right. Okay, next is Go Forge Sentinel. It's a 6-drop. Flying 4/4. I think fine unlimited.
Is this the one or
No.
is the next one?
It's the next one.
That's the next one.
I was gonna say because I don't see this limited. Fine.
Yeah, limited fine now.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a good card in limited.
Next we have Hall of Triumph, which is a 3-drop. As Hall of Triumph enters the battlefield, choose a color. Creatures of the you control the chosen color get +1/+1. I think it goes into any aggro, monocolored aggro deck.
Yeah.
In standard, as a 1 or 2 of.
I mean,
It goes into mono
I understand.
It's
Yeah,
it's another anthem.
it is another anthem, and I
These
understand that.
mono black aggro does not have an anthem.
No, it doesn't. This is the one that was the only one on the cusp that I was thinking potentially.
Yeah.
But you know,
It may not work, but I
Right,
think you still
right.
I think you still play it as a 1 or 2 of.
and then I mean, especially if you're doing
Because it's only your creatures.
white weenies, you know, you have the spear too.
Yeah, like
So-
I don't think you play this alongside Spear.
No, I'm just saying you
Yeah.
have multiple anthems in
Right.
white.
I think if I was playing a mono white deck in standard, I'd play it like as a one of, as well as spear as like
Yeah,
a
2
or
spears
three
on
of.
one of this.
Yeah, just so that you have the option of having this and spear at the same time.
Right. Yeah, I think it's fine. Favorite artifact.
I like Chariot of Victory.
I would agree with that.
The-
Chariot of Victory is probably my
it's-
favorite.
It's really good.
I think it gives
a quick
I-
cost of 1, you know,
Yeah,
and it gives all those things.
It gives all of those.
Like that's insane.
Yeah,
In limited, that basically
is
says deal with this card or things are going to get bad.
yeah.
I'm not a big fan of any of them, so I don't know.
You're not a fan of the Armory of Iros?
You don't think Chariot of Victory is pretty good?
Chariot of
I
Victory.
think it's
in
good.
all, like-
It's just like,
I mean, that's probably the best one out of these.
yeah, but
I mean, it's not
I
going
don't
to see any play.
No, but in limited, that's
Oh, yeah.
a crazy card. And in general, I think it's probably the best one.
Okay, and the moment you've all been waiting for,
The
3 lands.
All 3 lands.
All 3 lands.
know.
Like
They're
all 3 of our
they're
viewers.
all good.
Oh, wow, that's like the 3rd joke you made of that. Like, we
Because
haven't heard it before.
It's still funny.
Whatever. Just start reading.
Okay, first one is Mana Confluence. It's a land with tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool.
Fantastic.
You can enchant it with Underworld connections
And
efficiently.
and only take 1.
Yeah.
I think this card is overhyped a little bit. I also don't like people comparing it to City of Brass. Because in essence,
it
they have the
works.
same ability, but City of Brass, whenever it becomes tap, deals the damage, so your opponent can Rashad and port it, and keep it on Rashad and port tap lockdown, so you keep taking damage. With this, they can't do that.
Right.
So, you know, like, it would probably replace City Brasses
No.
for...
I think this replaces Gemstone Mine, actually. Because the decks that run City Brass really don't care about damage. I'm just saying people are comparing the two, and I don't think you can make the comparison with the two.
All I know is that this helps Kurt like flesh out the mana base for a lot of the 3-color decks that are in standard and stuff right now.
I don't think you run in 3 mana decks. I think its best place to do is in an aggro deck, so you can efficiently and effectively run a 2nd color. Like black red aggro becomes more efficient,
Right,
effective. Like
Red white gets better.
red white gets better, yeah, because you don't run the scry lands. You don't have to run. Well, you can run the scry lands, but you don't run like as many tap lands. Like you really don't care about your lands doing you damage in aggro decks.
Right.
This card I think sees plays in Legacy in Dredge deck. I think they take out Gemstone Mine because
I'm not familiar with Gemstone Mine. What does it do?
Gemstone Mine enters the battlefield with 3 counters on it. Remove a counter, add 1 color of any color to mana pool.
Okay.
When all counters are removed, you sacrifice it.
All right, yeah.
So this just stays forever.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely see
you
that
definitely
replacing
take Gemstone Mine out and put this in alongside City of Brass because Dredge really does not care about its life total.
Right.
Again.
I mean, like I said earlier in one of the other videos, this card in its own right has, like, it definitely helped out my deck because I was able to drop lands from my deck to increase the amount of enchantments and creatures and stuff like that. So it can help easily flesh out mana.
Oh, it does. I think it's real plain standard those aggro decks.
Oh, no doubt, because you're trying to get in damage fast.
And maybe like a 1 or 2 of in mid-range deck.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have any place in a control deck though, because
No.
you don't. You're playing the long game. You don't want to take that much life.
And
Right.
if you have life gain in your deck somehow, this card's perfectly fine even more.
Next we have Temple of Epiphany. It is Scryland. Taps for red and a blue, and it's battlefield scry 1.
It's
I
a
want-
tap land,
I want
and this is
4.
the one that you want to at least.
I think this sees 2 or 3 of in Modern Storm.
I don't think
that's
I'm
what
gonna
I'm
play
saying.
it
You
in
want to
Storm.
get them for because
I think Storm does play a couple, just because it's in our scry.
I'd shy away from this one in Storm.
Maybe
just
not
because,
Storm. Maybe
I see it a lot more in like Splinter
Splinter Twin,
Twin
yeah.
or any of the other like blue-red combo decks, but I don't think it wants to be in Storm because
I don't think this is bad on turn 1 in Storm though.
it's not bad in turn 1 on
So you'd
Storm, in
probably
Storm,
run
but
one or
like
two then only.
there-
Yeah, that's what I'm
like
saying.
when it gets to turn 3, 4, or 5, I want to just play a land that comes into play.
Right, that's why I
Right.
think you run like 1 or 2, just as an additional land.
I mean, this is definitely the one land that can potentially like. Do
Oh, see,
really well.
Another
Yep.
thing is
Yeah.
Another thing is the way I built my Storm deck for Modern, I basically built it with just fetch lands and basics so that I can make my Blood Moons in my sideboard better.
Okay. Next is Temple of Malady.
Or Milady. if you
It's
wanna be
Malady.
fancy.
It's not these whatever.
I
It's
know.
Malady.
It's a joke.
It is the Golgari Scryland. It taps for a green and a black. So when it enters Scry 1. I think this is actually the one that people have been needing for the green-black mid-range
yeah.
deck that people have been trying out because it just hasn't been working because it's...
Because they've had to use the guild gates.
They have
for
to
how
use the
long
guild
now?
gate. They have to... they don't efficiently have green and black. And
Right.
I think mono black might now actually start splashing green for Abrupt Decay because
Oh,
Abrupt
yeah,
Decay is
yeah.
really good right now.
I mean,
Very
also,
underplayed.
in the green black, you already have Reaper of the Wild, which is a scry trigger in that. I mean, it's not fantastic.
Yeah.
But this adds this adds the scry mechanic to make.
Right. It actually
This
adds
could
Scry to
this
green
could
black.
put the deck together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this-
I think the Dredge deck might play 1 or 2 of these.
I mean, obviously, I mean, the Scrylands in general, I think, are really good because they help manipulate your deck
Yep.
and you lay them. So, as a whole, I think they're instantly a upgrade from a regular land, unless you're like hyper aggro or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. Favorite land?
Temple of Epiphany because I play Modern.
Mana Confluence because it helped my standard deck.
Mana Confluence because I just think has the best potential of everything.
Also, I like how there's the 5 rivers on it, and all of them are the color identities, and they're all flowing into a center of Nyx.
That's cool. I don't know how Confluence is a place though, but whatever. It'd be cool if it was like Mana Convergent, like where they convert.
Yeah, I
The
mean, I
rivers
think that's what it
converge.
was kind of going for.
It was more of a swing and a miss on there though.
A little bit, but you know what? It's cool art, cool flavor text, cool card, and Temple of Epiphany is the one that's gonna see modern play.
Okay, so this is our final set review of
Journey Into Nyx.
Journey Into Nyx.
Leave a comment below of what your favorite card is in the set. And
all of the set.
yeah, of all the set, let us know what your favorite card is and tell us
And
why.
good luck at pre-release.
Oh,
seriously.
good. Yeah, good luck
Yeah.
at pre-release.
Good look. This is what we were doing it for, so you all can get some sort of idea for what is
What to look
potentially good
for.
and what's not
Yep.
good for. So, good luck with that, and
There's
let
a
us
lot
know
of
how you
strife.
did. Yeah. Heroics.
Combat tricks.
Go green
Those-
something heroics.
Yeah, so tell us what your favorite card is. Tell us how you do at the pre-release, and subscribe.
And we'll see you sometime, I'm sure, in the future.
Yeah,
because
we'll
be
probably-
making videos.
We will be.
All right, bye guys.
See ya.
Bye.